What's going on, guys? It's Picsoleated, and today we're going to be looking at the collaboration sneaker between classic sneaker retailer Converse and hype high fashion / streetwear brand Off-White. The sneaker we're talking about is most definitely the Off-White X Converse Chuck 70. This is the second rendition of the shoe in this collab. The first Converse Off-White Chuck 70 was a little different, more translucent with text on the toe box, so if you want to know how to differentiate the two, that should be a good way to differentiate them. That should be a good way to distinguish the two for you. But before we get any deeper, feel free to hit me up on Instagram at Picsoleated. That's at Picsoleatd for fire sneaker content and giveaways. Pix fam, we gotta stay strong and stay glued together with some super or crazy glue, the good stuff. Anyways, back to the shoes. Now, typically I do a review and I'll still do a bit of that, but this time we're gonna take a different approach. It doesn't necessarily make sense for me to just review the shoe since I didn't really get it before release, and you wouldn't be able to get them for retail at this point. But if you're in the aftermarket deciding which shoe to get, I can make your decision a little easier. So for that reason, I'm going to tell you 5 reasons why the Off-White Chucks are the best Off-White shoes for you. But before I get into that, a quick overview of the shoes. The Off-White Chuck 70 released on October 8th. I was able to get my pair off Converse.ca. It was a terrible buggy release. The site was pretty much dead on arrival, and if you really wanted a pair, you had to sit there refreshing for hours on end and pray not to get banned from the site for doing the exact thing. Trust me, a lot of people got banned because the site thought they were a bot for refreshing, and the site was just crashing like crazy. It was just a mess. Thankfully, I somehow managed to pull through. Don't ask me how, because I don't have an answer for you. Just know I was sitting there for an unhealthily long period of time. This is unhealthily a word? Oh no. Now the pair I got is a size 10. I'm a true to size 10, but in Converse I always go at least half a size down. With these, I've heard people go a full size down to size 9. I can see that being a possibility, but with my wide foot, I think I'd be fine with a half size down. I've worn Chucks at size 9 before, and even though they fit, they're just a touch too narrow where after a while my foot starts to hurt. Either way, you'll be fine with going either a half a size down or full size down from your true to size. I would say half a size down if you're wide footed, because I have worn a full size down in Chucks before, and even though it fits, it eventually your toe starts hurting because it's just a touch too short. Now quickly, let's go through the materials. The upper is pretty much all white, made of the typical canvasy material most Chucks are commonly made from. With the expected off-white hits, the Chuck All-Star wheel on the ankle has an orange tab stitched to it, which is pretty much every off-white shoe that has come out of Nike so far has this on there, but the tab itself is printed and glued onto the upper instead of being a little flap that you can wave around. We have the classic off-white text on the medial side of the upper stating the year and origin of where the shoe was first created. The back of the tongue has this off-white Converse branding, as does the insole. The insole is super thick and has this second layer of padding underneath. You can definitely feel this in your steps, and it's great. The midsole of the shoe is black and white in classic off-white road decal grid fashion, and the outsole is super bright and orange. And oh yeah, the useless off-white zip tie is orange as well. As for comfort, these shoes are relatively comfortable, nothing new with the upper, it's just as flimsy as always, but the midsole is very well cushioned. So with that out of the way, let's get into the 5 reasons why this Off-White Converse Chuck 70 is the perfect off-white shoe for you. Reason number 1, it is simply the cheapest of the bunch. Now I get that it's definitely not the cheapest off-white Nike shoe available. That credit might go to the Nike Off-White Vapor, whatever the soccer shoes were, but those might not be a shoe for everyone, and these are definitely the least pricey based on anything from the original, the 10 collection, and their predecessors. Those shoes and even their later iterations such as the Off-White Presto, Jordan 1s, and Blazers in all colors are all going for astronomical amounts in comparison. That means when you buy these, not only do you get the oh so noticeable off-white touches that you love so much on your shoes, you get a decent price that will leave your wallet with still some air to breathe. It might be panting, but it's got some air left in the tank, and that's much better than what you get if you bought any other Nike Off-White or OG Converse Off-White shoe. Reason number 2, it's got a simple design, but it's very bold and noticeable. For a shoe that doesn't go for as much as the other Nike Off-White collabs, I'd venture as far as to say that these probably stand out the most from almost any of the shoes in the Nike Off-White collaboration so far. Not counting the soccer shoes once again, because I'm sticking to the 10 silhouettes in the original The 10 release. What that means is that because it's so simple, it doesn't come off as gaudy or try hard, but because of the bold black and white grid color blocking on the midsole, you can still make a statement wearing these. I'm honestly surprised at how much I like these on feet. Of course, it would be better if these weren't a full size too big for me, but you get my point. And the bright orange outsole just adds that extra pop. Because it's not on the upper, it's not too overbearing, but it's just the perfect amount of bold and subtle at the same time. Reason number 3, unlike the other silhouettes from the 10 collection, these won't age terribly over time. Now, if you remember, most of the sneakers in the 10 collection were made of the innards of the shoes they were based off. For example, the Air Jordan 1 was made of the inside insulation parts of it. A lot of the inner materials were exposed. Even the Air Max Ultra 97, the Blazers, a lot of the inner materials were exposed. And because of this, the inner material, like the foam in the tongue or the sides and toe box of the shoe, start yellowing very early in the shoe's life cycle. Because these off-white Chucks are made of the traditional canvas or whatever Chucks are made of, you don't have to worry about this problem. Granted, the shoes are mostly white, so you'll still have to worry about getting them dirty, but at least there's a somewhat effective solution to that, like using sneaker cleaners to clean them. You can't really reverse the yellowing in the insulation for the most part. And considering those unfinished shoes go for a lot more money than these, it really makes the decision a lot easier. Reason number 4, they're actually kind of comfortable. Now, I know it's weird to say this because it's 2018, almost 2019. You'd assume most shoes at this point should be comfortable, but it's not that simple when a lot of classic shoes are still immensely popular. With that being said, these actually have decent cushioning in them. Since Nike owns Converse, they've included their Lunar Lawn cushioning in Chucks made after Nike bought them, obviously, versus other Nike off-white sneakers like the Blazer or Jordan 1 that still have the same cushioning tech they had when they came out decades ago, a small airbag in the heel of the Jordan 1 and practically nothing in the Blazer. Sure, we have the Nike Hyperdunk React basketball sneaker and the Zoom Flies, but one's a hardcore basketball silhouette, which might not be everyone's go-to for a casual sneaker, and the other is still selling for a lot more in the aftermarket. So although the upper of this shoe doesn't have that much to offer in comfort, the fact that the midsole does means you're gonna have a smooth ride. Finally, reason number 5, these will go with pretty much anything. While most of the sneakers from the 10 collection have a pretty neutral palette, most of them will yellow over time, making the shoe look a little disgusting, while others are just very hard to match color. Like the All Hallows Eve colorway of the Blazer, don't get me wrong, that doesn't inherently make the other shoes bad, but it does mean they will be harder to match than a mostly all-white Chuck with a black and white color blocking on the midsole. That bright orange sole gives it an intense pop of color to add interest to, and because it's only at the bottom of the shoe, it doesn't get in the way of your fits, it's not overbearing or anything. This shoe will go with pretty much anything you throw at it. Whatever you can wear with a white shoe, you can wear with these. Whatever you can wear with a black shoe, you can wear with these, and that's pretty much covering 99% of possibilities out there. So you do the math. That's it, guys. Those are the 5 reasons why the Off-White Chuck 70s are the best sneaker for you right now. Let me know what you think. Did this change your mind on the Off-White Chuck, or are you still looking for other sneakers? Let me know in the comments. Catch you later. Pixelated is Chucksolated.